Like in every other sphere of life, artificial intelligence is the buzzword these days in the gaming world that is already a $150 billion global industry. By 2025, a whopping 3.6 billion people will be playing video games. Previously monopolized by a handful of companies, the gaming industry today has become a massive cash cow for big names like Apple and Google. It is scary to think how AI will change the human mind and interface with it. Is the trepidation in just a few of us or shared by those studying the art of making video games? This question was put to a young student, Prince, a student at Centennial College, Toronto. Here is the conversation.
The first games were 8-bit games and stuff like that. The old video games just had 8 bits, and nowadays we have thousands of terabytes of game. So about virtual reality, it's the new technology that has come up in few recent years, and it's still under development. I would say it has done very well.
So what exactly is virtual reality? What do you mean when you say video games being played in virtual reality? Is it a team of people who can communicate with each other through AI, or what is it?
No. Actually, the AI and virtual reality are two different concepts. AI can be integrated in normal video games as well. Virtual reality is all about you wear a headset on your eyes. You have controllers in your hand. It could be a different type of controllers, just a normal joysticks, or you can have a weapon. It could be any kind of controller. In virtual reality, you will see a virtual world that's completely designed by the video game designers and the developers. So it could be like you are in this room and you can see USA. You could be in the Times Square,
Yeah.
or in Africa's jungle.
In real time.
Yeah,
In real time.
No, not in real time. Like
But
it's
illusion.
design. Yeah,
It's design.
illusion. It's
So
a
then
illusion.
what do you do? Do you think it will happen in real time that there will be one person in New York and one in Toronto and they can play through this virtual reality, or is it?
Yes, they can play together. Actually, they don't need to be in different locations. They can be together, or one could be here in Canada, one could be in Africa, and they could be playing in USA.
Okay, so what
So
will
they
they
can
be
do
playing?
any. They can go anywhere. They can play anywhere. It's all about the design,
So
how
what,
the developers have made the game.
so what are they developing? Like, if, let's say they're in Times Square, what would they be doing? What kind of virtual reality game could you envisage?
It could be different kind of games. Like it could be a first-person shooter game where you have the weapon, you have to shoot zombies or each other. Like it's a multiplayer game. There would be two different teams, and one team would try to defeat all the players of the other team.
How do they get connected to play this game? How do they know what moves to? How are they tied together in their coordination?
It uses a vector 3 system, and it's connected through the servers. Like it could be Amazon or Microsoft Azure, any kind of server infrastructure, and they are connected through a complete network structure. There are different kind of network structures for different game engines. In Unity, you have multiple options like I would say there is a Photon, which is for beginners, and Unity is also working on its own networking solution.
So you're trying to tell me that there are companies who are setting up their own servers or
Yeah.
cloud-based
Or they
servers.
are using the different companies already, like Amazon and Microsoft have a well-developed infrastructure of networking system.
So you could have your own network.
Yeah, we could have our own network, or you could use the other network provider.
And the network is dedicated to just
Yes,
gaming?
it's dedicated for gaming only.
So how many, so it means there must be massive volumes playing at the
Yeah.
same time.
It depends on the amount of players playing at the same time. Like if there are only 50 players, then there's no need of high computing power. Just one server could be enough. But for games like Call of Duty and this PUBG, there would be thousands of servers running at the moment.
Also, you know what, as you may be knowing this as a student, there have been times when the player has been hijacked. That's, you know, how you could fall prey to somebody who has just entered that network, and that is pretty dicey. And there have been reports about it. How much of a possibility?
Yeah, it happens no matter how much companies try to develop their security of the network, but hackers always find their way, and companies are trying to improve that by checking the security of the network. I would say it will develop more security. For that purpose, you could use the Amazon servers or Microsoft servers, which are more secure. If you are trying to develop your own network structure, then the security is up to you, and I would say it's very risky.
So you're saying this is one aspect of the game. There's also another aspect which companies like you were talking to me the other day about Meta. What are these companies looking at? Do you think you'll have actually an artificial robot? Um, you could have trackers in that robot or in that human being, and you could have a virtual reality world where two players are actually playing games with each other within a body system. Is that possible?
It could be. It's a future, and future is unpredictable. Anything could happen in the future. But as of this moment, it's not developed right now. And
But are there any attempts to develop such kind of games? Because you have crowd management through games. I've heard of games where you unleash a mob to a particular place and ask them to find something, to look for these clues, these clues. Is that happening? Is gaming going there?
yes, it's happening. The Meta is doing it, and many other companies will be doing it. But they don't reveal such things until they are fully developed.
Tell us something more about what exactly is this? Is this because it kind of seems to me that you could be an unwitting you could fall an unwitting prey to this kind of a game where they're telling you they are through the mob they're utilizing the mob to track something or to make it more exciting.
Sorry, I'm not understanding your questions.
You tell me how is it developed? We just talked about something. You tell me how do you see it developing? This whole thing about where you track through trackers. Uh, you ask the unleash a mob and say, okay, you find this at this place. Let's say you talk about New York Square, sorry, Times Square, and you just tell a mob collect there. Is that possible? And you play this game there. Of
No, you will be playing the game here. You will be in Times Square. You will fill all around it. Uh, you may have to collect it. You don't have to actually walk in this area. Just with the joystick, you can move around the Times Square, explore it, do anything. You can even go inside the buildings, and yeah, there will be some tasks in the game, of course. That
But
should be
that's
a
all
goal.
artificial. I mean, it's not as if somebody would be doing it for you. Uh, it's just an artificial world
Yeah, it's
within
an
your
artificial world.
world, right?
Yeah, so nobody will be doing it in real world.
So, what are the other things what are the companies that are involved? Like, you were also mentioning Apple. What is Apple working on as far as games are concerned?
Apple is actually developing their own virtual devices and stuff. I'm not sure what they are doing because they haven't revealed anything yet.
What's the
Or maybe I'm not aware
what's
about
the
it.
wave? What's the wave in virtual reality or you have a lot of artificial intelligence. In fact, they say that the development of the computer has been through video games. Video games made it simpler to develop computer and networking systems. And what kind of things do you see happening in the world of games?
In the world of games, the VR is already going on, and soon there will be mixed reality.
What would that
There's
be?
a yeah, there's a difference between virtual reality and mixed reality. In virtual reality, you go into the illusion, whereas in mixed reality, the illusion come to this real world.
How's that? How's that
It
possible?
uses hologram and all other technologies, the AR, hologram, virtual reality, everything together. You will be playing the game just in this mall.
Mm-hmm.
You will see enemies, zombies coming towards you.
Real
Everything
time,
you, yeah,
real time.
in
Wow.
real time, but actually not. It's just an illusion. But
But they
as I
come in
said,
physical. It's physical,
no, it's not physical.
only holograms.
Yeah, only
So
holograms.
who will be controlling those holograms?
It will be controlled by AI, of course.
But it will be outside of the computer screen.
Yeah, of course. There will be no screen.
There'll be no screen. Oh
No.
wow.
Or maybe even if you have the screen, it will be just like sunglasses or something. You will have your glasses, you will see everything in this world.
So do they change the human body for that?
No, nothing. Nothing done to human body.
Then
It's just an illusion. So they like use many technologies.
New
Where is the
territories.
telephone, where is the world, everything. They detect the real world, they scan it, and when they uh, when the characters would collide and how they will interact with the real world.
wow.
So maybe there's a zombie coming from the back through this door.
And the zombie would be a artificial zombie, a robot. What would it be?
No, nothing. There will
Just
be
a
nothing.
hologram.
Just an hologram
So
illusion.
it would be a lighting thing, basically.
Yeah,
it's
lighting.
it's a hologram through lighting.
Yes.
But it's a hologram. Like
It's a
I can
hologram.
see that.
You can
The
see
visible light,
illusion.
or is it only through the glasses that I can see it? Through the virtual reality glasses. But
It can be both.
it can be.
If it's a completely hologram, then you don't need the glasses.
Okay. Yes, because
Yeah.
you can see holograms.
You can see the holograms, but to interact with them, like you want to shoot them or something, then you need to wear the glasses. You need to have the controller.
Where do you think it's all going to go? Where do you think it's going to lead to? Do you see artificial intelligence and robotics playing a game in virtual, playing a role in in games, video games? What's their role going to be?
Artificial intelligence will take over the humans in the games.
How?
Like even in these days, I forgot the name of that device, but Nvidia, the producer of graphic cards, which are mandatory for games, they developed a device. It's just like a USB pen drive. You just plug it in and play the games as you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not, suppose you somebody comes to your door and you have to go there, but you cannot stop the game. It's a multiplayer online game, so you cannot stop it or pause it for a while. So you go attend the door. At that moment, that device will take over. It will, when you are playing, it will scan your strategies and how you play. It will learn from you. And when you are away, the device will take over. He will that will play just like you.
So the whole fear is that the human mind may be, somebody may be already studying stealthily the human mind without that human even knowing. Otherwise, you'd never be able to develop this kind of technology.
Yes.
So here's the thing. There are certain people who may fall prey because they're intelligent, and these companies may be studying the brain, and that person may never know, but they would have created a person in terms of an artificial person or artificial intelligence person who can then in turn play the game and defeat another human.
That's already happening. Not only for video games, for all this stuff. Whatever you are doing, it's being tracked.
Do you know
Companies
how
are
they
learning
try?
from you.
Yeah, but how do they try? Google, I know that you do
Yeah.
research. That's a more
You are speaking, whatever we are speaking, our phones are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they will use that data to train their model.
I see. And then they sell it to you and
Yeah.
they so do you see any threat to the it's like chess, Mr. Kosovo, whatever his name was, the brilliant chess player, was defeated eventually by the
By the
machine.
AI. Yeah.
By the machine and probably picked up from him and saw the weakness of his own
Yeah.
strategies.
He studied his weaknesses
Yeah,
and tried
exactly.
to defeat
And
him.
probably that's how they could defeat him.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think, but that's the end of the human intelligence because when you're,
Machine is being more intelligent than humans.
it has to be because it's a collective kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's not an
It not,
individual.
as a human, you are limited. You cannot run everything together.
Are you not scared of video games?
Actually, not.
Aren't you scared that one day the human intelligence will be subservient to artificial intelligence? You're the future generation. I'm an older person, but you are going to live that reality much more than I can live it.
There is no escape from that now.
You don't
We have
think,
already come so far.
and then there can be no escape from it. You think we've already.
No.
So
There
why
won't be
do
any
we?
escape.
So do you think it's the right direction to? As a younger person, I'm asking you because you're so young. You're in your teens, perhaps 19 or still, and you're studying. Do you not feel that the corporate world is leading the direction of where the human civilization is going to be? And it's a very, very important question. Are we going to let these handful of people, the Googles, the Metas of the world, or the Elon Musks of the world, decide what our future generations are going to face, because they'll make their billions, they'll train their children, they'll have that collective body of intelligence sitting with them. What happens to us as ordinary human beings? Aren't you scared?
We're living like robots. We will be just following their commands. That's not going to happen.
That's what's going to happen, and you're ready for it?
Nobody is ready for it, but as I said, there is no escape.
There's no escape. Tell me something more.
You are responsible for your privacy and how you want to live.
Tell me something. What are some of the things that they use? For instance, if they want to track you and they want to track your thoughts. There's also something happening where there's a studying of the human mind, and it could be done without the person actually speaking. They could be thinking in
Yes,
their own thoughts. What is that?
many companies are developing such devices which can track the activities of your brain and try to find what you are thinking about.
Who are these companies? Some of them, like Meta, or is it?
I don't know, but I will read an article about that.
And they can track your. So is that being used in games or?
No, not for games. It's just for a research purpose right now, but I don't know how they will use it.
But it's
It
gone
could be
out.
dangerous.
It could be dangerous, right? Because you're putting something into the
Yeah.
human body, and there is nothing that human can do because no doctor will understand it. So here's the thing: we're living in a dangerous crossroads. This could happen in your own apartment building. You may not get to know about it, but the doctors may laugh and say you're schizophrenic. These are things that are happening. So how do you? The question is, how do you train the medical system to understand, or the police to understand that this is happening? Because there has to be some limit to how the ordinary human individual could be, how much you could take away his rights or his. Do you think that is happening or that needs to happen? Don't you think that needs to happen? The governments need to have some kind of
Limitations, yeah.
but
There
they're
should
not
be
able
some
to
restrictions.
understand this, yes.
Yeah, nobody is understanding it right now, but soon it will happen. Uh, Whatever you are saying, the scenario, there is a game for that.
Mhm.
Uh, it's called Watch Dogs.
Okay.
It's basically kind of future game. Uh, they track every citizen's activity in that game, and you are a hacker in that game, and you have to you have to stop that. You have to save the people. The government is using everything about your routine, how you're doing, about your health, everything, and based on that, everything, your life is totally dependent on that. Like they know what you are doing, what you are talking, whatever is in your phone.
Right.
Yeah, you are texting your friend, everything is being tracked. So if you have any medical issue and government knows about it, your insurance premiums will be high
Wow.
automatically without even you disclosing your medical history.
So, so the question is, who is funding these people? Let's say Meta. It's basically they live on borrowed funding. But is it a partnership between government, banks, and these companies, or is it just the government has nothing to do with it right now, or you wouldn't be able to?
We will never be able to tell that because government could be involved in that, but
Because the Elon Musk's company has got federal clearance for the brain machine interface. Do you think that's happening in that is happening already in video games, the machine brain interface? Of course,
no, not at this moment.
not at this moment.
No.
So is there anything else that is alarming to you as a young man? Is there anything that really stands out in the world of games to you when you're developing software? That is, what stands out to you?
At this moment, the artificial intelligence is an important thing, and it's dominating.
So, if I may ask you, how exactly are you using artificial intelligence? Because it's not that developed as yet. So, how are you using it?
Actually, the artificial intelligence is developed very good right now.
It has developed.
Yeah, you can see the example ChatGPT.
Sorry, ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gives more precise answers than human can do. It knows about everything, almost everything. And same thing is for games, AI. You could see the modern AI in the games. They can do. It's more like a human experience. It's very hard to tell that it's a machine playing the game, or the character is controlled by the machine. It behaves exactly like humans.
So let's say you have AI. It's a what is it? It's a kind of a tool, or is it a machine? Or how does
AI
it
is very
exist?
big term.
No, when you do it for video games, how do you? You said that there'll be AI playing and there'll be human playing. So the AI is in the form of
It's a line of codes, nothing else.
it's a
Line of codes and collection of data.
so where does it sit? In the same machine as you're playing?
Yes, it's
Oh,
inside
so
you.
you're playing AI. So the
Yeah,
AI
it's
is
inside your
simultaneously,
computer.
but that's very dangerous because it's collecting so many human thoughts and you know how you
That
play
depends
your
on how
strategy.
that AI is developed, how the AI model is developed by the developers.
Right.
Not all the AI models collect your data. AI generally doesn't collect your data. It's machine learning algorithm. So whatever data they have collected, the learning algorithm process the data and makes appropriate decision.
And when you are developing the game, who gives you the blueprint or the map to develop it? Is it the school or is it your own or is it the companies that develop that ask the school to develop? There must be some kind of a interface between the companies, big companies that are into it, and the schools the universities or the schools or the colleges that you people attend, or is it just the discretion of the school? How does it work?
For what?
For developing a game. Let's say you are in class and you have the professor come in and say, uh, do they teach you how does it work, or do they give you a blueprint of making that game, or
Um, they teach the game and they also give the blueprint. Uh,
develop this? They
yeah,
say develop
they
this.
first teach it and then give the project.
So what kind of projects have you worked on? What's the project you worked on?
I worked in 2D games, 3D multiplayer games,
3D
yeah, 3D games and VR project as well.
So what did you do in the VR project? What was outstanding to you in the VR project?
That was very basic project. It was actually my first project, so it was simply first person shooter game. There was nothing fancy about it. Just pick up the guns, shoot the enemies, and win the level.
And my last question to you is, I've always thought of games as being distractions for students, not to you because you're learning, that's your profession, going to be a profession, but in terms of having, bringing them into such a, because I believe even adults are playing now, over 36,
Yeah.
40 years old people. And what question it brings to my mind is how much of violence, I mean, we always blaming the gun industry, but how much do you, in your personal opinion, feel that violence is also understood and learned and encouraged through the process of video gaming?
I would totally disagree with that because you cannot blame video games for violence. Uh, it's the mentality of person.
Right.
Yeah, because many people play the games and they become genius out of it. Even video games are not just for fun. Some games are made for learning purpose. Many schools have adopted technology and the games to teach their children, teach their students. And even in medical industry, many games and simulations are used for practicals.
That's a good thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're using it for medicine.
So it's up to you. If you want to learn bad things, you can learn out of anything. So you cannot play video games for that.
One last thought of yours. Where is the future going to be in your world? Forget about what I said about the fear and all that. What, as a person who's into video games, do you see them? If you shut your eyes and you think, what's the one thing outstanding that you want to?
As I said about the mixed reality, I think that's going to be the future of video games.
Where is it going to go? Where do you think it's going? Mixed reality, yeah, you have simple things like zombies coming, but do you think it can also lead to a world where sitting in Toronto, I can unleash a zombie in, let's say, New York, Times Square, and ask the zombie to do weird things?
No, I don't think that will be possible.
Why not? It's virtual reality. You connect through a network.
You can send a zombie, but it will be virtual.
You can
Yeah, you cannot
So
send a
what?
physical zombie to New York from
Why
here.
not? You could create a physical zombie. Zombie is not just a hypothetical figure. You could create a.
That's not about video games. It's
No,
kind
it
of
could be
robotic.
robotics.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
about
an
robotic.
interface between robotics and video games. Don't you think that's an interface that's possible?
It's possible, but it's more like a robotic thing. You control the robot with your fingers and controllers.
Okay. So
So
so virtual reality? What makes you shudder in the world of virtual reality games? What makes you shudder? Does anything make you shudder or feel scared or feel upset or feel that it shouldn't go that way?
um, not
Anything,
really.
not
Not
really.
really. Actually, I'm very excited about the virtual reality games.
Okay. Any last thoughts you want to make?
I think that's all.
Okay. That was really good.